Yo, what is good, YouTube? In today's video, I got y'all the new top 5 meta SMG loadouts you need to be using. So if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a like for the algorithm, subscribe, notifications turned on, and let's get into it. All right, hopping in here to my first SMG. My favorite, kind of like my most consistent one right now, is going to be the KSV. It says the static on screen. Not really sure why. There's a lot of glitches going on in the game at the moment, but let's show you guys here how to build the optimal setup for close range combat. Not a sniper sport, nothing else like that, just close range combat. First thing we're gonna do is throw on that long barrel, just increase that our damage range, gets you out to 17.8 meters, which is phenomenal. That you really want to be above about that 13-14 meter mark, which is kind of where is like the happy medium sweet spot in the game, where you have to be above that in order to be truly effective. So when you get out to about that 17-18 meter mark, that's when you're really going to be outgunning a lot of things, and this has a super consistent damage profile, so it is really awesome. Under barrel section, we're gonna go through on the Ranger foregrip, horizontal recoil control, and sprinting movement speed. This really doesn't have a whole lot of horizontal recoil. It maybe has just a little bit, and the sprinting movement speed does help you out when you're trying to get away from some situations. Just sprint around the map a little bit faster even. If you feel like you need to have a little bit more recoil control, go for the vertical, and that'll help you out with the three, of course, the green, arrows there for horizontal recoil. But overall, I think the Ranger is perfectly fine. Magazine section, we're gonna go throw on Extended Mag 2, and the reason we are throwing on Extended Mag 2 is just because this gets us to 50 rounds in the mag, and there is absolutely no reason for you guys to run Extended Mag 1 over 2. It does not make the gun infinitely better. The only gun that could see that being a difference is maybe the PPSH, and I'll explain that here a little bit later since that is in today's top 5. Rear grip section, we're gonna go down to here and throw on the ergonomic grip. You guys can realistically run the commando grip or the ergonomic grip, depending on what you think feels a little bit better. You will be better on that sort of sliding, bringing your gun up type of feeling. So if you are slide canceling a lot, obviously you're sliding to, maybe do that omni movement in a gunfight, this will be overall, I think, a little bit better. But if you're just more concerned with your sprint to fire and ADS speed, the commando grip will be a little bit better in that regard. I think the ergonomic works better for me in my general play style and how aggressive I am. So I'd say that for the majority of you guys out there, probably the ergonomic is going to be better. And to round that out, we're gonna go through on the infiltrator stock for that aim walking movement speed. This is probably my favorite way to run this gun right now is with the infiltrator. You definitely can run it with the balance stock. That's gonna still be great as well. But the infiltrator just kind of is doing the Lord's work right here and making it so you can really strafe back and forth absolutely beautifully, and this is just seriously my favorite build to run on my favorite SMG. This video is sponsored by MMOEXP, home of the best Black Ops 6 and Warzone services for cheap bot lobbies and fast camo unlocks, which you can go right up to the site and use code Chuck at checkout for 6% off. Now we're moving into another SMG that is super unbelievably consistent, being the C9. It actually shows it correctly on the screen this time, but the C9 is just such a good SMG to run. You guys definitely need to be using this thing. Much like the KSV, we can skip the optic and the muzzle section since this is primarily used for close range. We're gonna go ahead and throw on the long barrel here as per usual. We used to be able to get away with running that reinforced barrel previous, a couple updates ago, but definitely not anymore. You want to go for the long barrel exclusively. Under barrel section, this is kind of one of those guns where I could say that the vertical foregrip might be a little bit more useful based on the overall recoil pattern. It goes up and it starts jiggling around a little bit. It's kind of weird. So if you feel like that is something that's really going to bother you, go throw on the vertical foregrip and that'll help you out tremendously. But usually speaking, what I go for is the Ranger foregrip, and I don't run into too many issues. So I should say this will be good for a majority of guys out there, but that is another option. Magazine, we're gonna go throw on Extended Mag 2 here. I've been running this pretty much exclusively ever since I've been using the C9 consistently on my loadouts. I ran Extended Mag 1 there for a little bit because I was like, oh, the reload's pretty quick. I don't think it needs the 50 rounds. But the more I started running Extended Mag 2, I was like, okay, I kind of see that, the pull here. I feel like this is definitely gonna be better for me just based on the situations I'm running into where having the extra 10 rounds in the mag would be more beneficial. So I definitely say Extended Mag 2 is indeed the move here. It doesn't matter if you're playing, Verdansk, or if you're playing, Rebirth, this is the move. Rear grip section, we're gonna go through on the ergonomic grip. This is just to help, of course, like I said, slide to fire, dive to fire, ADS speed and jumping ADS speed. You guys kind of know what they do, but this will help you out a little bit more so than the commando grip. I think for this particular gun, this actually works better for the ergonomic. Like I said, you guys can test it out and see what works better for you and your individual play style, but largely speaking, I think the ergonomic is better. Stock section to round this thing out, we're throwing on the balance stock here and not the infiltrator. I want to say that I think the balance stock just feels a little bit better. I don't know what it is, but I just like the way the balance stock feels. I think the infiltrator somehow, some way doesn't feel as good to me. So the infiltrator, if it feels good to you, go ahead and run that. Hey, listen, like, don't let me stop you. But for me, when I'm running this thing, I think the balance stock ends up working out just a little bit better, and so I like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and run that, and this is gonna be my full C9 build. All right, now I know a lot of y'all are gonna be looking at me and be like, hey, Chuck, like, what is this? This is the AK. It's an assault rifle, but it is pretty much used as an SMG right now. And it's kind of funny how we get Verdansk back, and now we have like a double AR meta. We got like, you know, your AMAX, and then you can run the AK-74 as your secondary. Kind of throws back to when we had like the AUG and like the FFAR or the M16 FFAR. I'm sure some of you guys remember that meta. That was really busted and broken. This is nowhere close to that level of, you know, busted and broken, but TTK is really solid. So let's show you guys how to build this out for close range, not necessarily sniper support. It will still be fine as sniper support, but this is not gonna have like an optic on it, for instance. So muzzle, we're actually gonna go here, throw on the compensator. We're just doing this to help the overall vertical recoil. This is really about the only recoil stabilization based attachment you need. After that, this gun's gonna be perfectly fine, and it's gonna be super easy to use the iron sights on this thing. It's not gonna jiggle around too much. You guys will be good to go. Skipping the barrel, going straight down here for the underbarrel. We're gonna go through on the Ranger foregrip, as keep in mind the way we're building this thing, it is to be more SMG like. It has the assault rifle characteristics, all of course, you know, the handling, the sprint to fire, ADS, all that sort of stuff. So we are indeed trying to speed this thing up to be more effective at close range. Magazine, we're gonna go through on Extended Mag 1, which is gonna give us that increased magazine ammo capacity up to 40 rounds. I know if you're playing big map, you know, you're playing like, you know, Verdansk, maybe Extended Mag 2 might be a little bit more beneficial, considering maybe you run into some more people. You're not as concerned with all the close quarter situations that you would be on Rebirth. But overall, I think even then, still 40 rounds in the mag and getting no cons is awesome, because keep in mind, this is your close range gun. So you will be going up against people that have, you know, your KSV, your C9s, your compacts, PPSH. So with that in mind, I think Extended Mag 1 is the move, but for maybe Verdansk, I'd probably go Extended Mag 2. So I'm gonna throw that on there. Rear grip section, we're gonna go in here. We're gonna throw on the commando grip on this one. Reason being is that obviously sprint to fire and stuff is not gonna be bad, but what we're mainly concerned with is obviously your ADS speed and your sprint to fire speed, because like your slide to fire, I should say, is not gonna be bad, but we're just more concerned with, like, you know, obviously we get that slide up, but how fast can we actually ADS, because you're not hip firing a lot with this thing, you're primarily ADSing. So the faster you can get your gun ADS and the better sprint to fire you got, obviously, the better off you're gonna be, especially when you're competing against SMGs. So it makes more sense to run the commando in this instance as opposed to the ergonomic. It will just overall be better for the commando. Stock section around this thing out, we're gonna go through on the infiltrator stock. Helps your aim locking movement speed. It's better. Obviously, you know, we're not trying to hip fire a lot with this thing, so you can ADS, move back and forth, really nice. And I should say that that's going to be like the absolute most prime way to run it. I should say you could try out the balance stock if you really want to, but the infiltrator is indeed the move. So this right here is like your AK-74 SMG. All right, now hopping into an SMG that's absolutely going to fry. That's the Compact 92. This is really solid of an SMG. It's probably got the fastest TTK up to about that 13 meters. So when you're in close quarters situations, if you got the compact and you're hitting your shots, you are going to be taking people out faster than just about anything else. So we're going to skip the optic muzzle section, straight for the barrel, throw on the long barrel, which I will say you can go down here and run the integrated suppressor barrel. This exact build is going to work perfectly fine either way, depending on which barrel you choose. Like, doesn't matter for this or the long barrel, but those are going to be my two suggestions right there. So go ahead and choose the long barrel if you don't mind being unsuppressed and having a tad bit more damage range. You can see 12.8 meters right here versus 12.3. So it's about 12.3 to a 12.8. It's 0.5 meter difference. So if you feel like that's going to be, you know, the difference maker for you, run the long barrel. If not, you can run the integrated suppressor and basically get a nice little 3-for-1 because it's suppressed. Obviously keeps you off the radar, increases your bullet velocity and your damage range. So 3 versus 1, it's up to you. I've been having more success recently with the long barrel, so I'm going to choose that. Underbarrel, same thing as always, the Ranger foregrip. This gun, despite having a ton of fire rate power, I shouldn't say a ton of fire rate power, that's very bad grammar, but if having a very high fire rate of 1,091 round per minute, that is pretty nuts. But for that amount, of, you know, bullets it's putting down range, it really doesn't have recoil that's gonna kind of go along with it. It's very minimal. So you can just run at the Ranger and be perfectly fine and get that increase in movement speed, sprinting movement speed, which ultimately will help you out. Magazine, we're gonna throw on Extended Mag 2, not Extended Mag 3. Reason we're not doing Extended Mag 3 is because, well, this slows you down a lot, and we don't like that. And the compact is not one of those guns that has like ridiculously fast movement anyways, so we're not trying to slow ourselves down more than we need to, and 50 rounds is going to be sufficient for this based on the fire rate and what we're going to be using it for. So I think this is good, and it's how I've been running it pretty much ever since I've been using it. Now in the rear grip section, we're gonna go through on that ergonomic here. Once again, I really like having a good slide to fire. I think that is so unbelievably crucial. Being able to just slide around, have that nice fluid up, you know, I love that. I think that works out great, but you can run the commando. Like I said, it's very depending on how you like to play the game. Stock section though, we're gonna go down to here and we're gonna run that balanced stock. Reason being is I just like the overall rounded capabilities of this thing. Infiltrator is pretty solid. If you like more of that aim locking movement speed, and even the no stock does work decently well on this thing. Have ran that before, it's pretty cool, but I'm not sure how much the movement speed benefits people now, just because I would run it previously because I could get away from people, and now it's like you really can't. So you're almost better off having something that benefits you more within the gunfight, like the infiltrator for the aim locking or the balance stock for these other different benefits here. So I'd say the balance stock is going to work out a little bit better for this gun in particular, so go ahead and slap that on there. This is your full compact build. And last but definitely not least here, we're going to be giving you guys a build for the PPSH-41. So between this and the SOG, you really can't go too wrong. I just believe I included the SOG in one of my previous videos or top 5. So I got to give the PPSH some love, since it's not like there's a big difference between the two. It's just making it a top 5, not like a top 6 or 7. So first thing we're gonna do is we're actually gonna go into the muzzle category. We're gonna throw on the suppressor here. So this is going to keep us off the radar. No, we do not need to go throw on the monolithic suppressor. This does mess with your aim down sight speed, which we do not want on an SMG. So the regular suppressor is going to be great, keeps you off the radar. It's a nice way to have a suppressed SMG build that's going to be really effective. Barrel section, you guys can see that we have 11.7 meters of damage range right now, so we need to increase that. Actually, we're going to increase that with the long barrel by selecting that, and it's going to get us out to 15.2. which is where we want to be. Our bullet velocity is perfectly fine. The fire rate's very high. So overall, I think you guys are going to be good with this. Maybe previous to the update, you did not need a barrel, but they did kind of mess with the overall range on this thing. So you should be running a barrel now. Under barrel, we're going to throw on that Ranger foregrip here as per usual. No reason to switch this up. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, you're not going to find anything else better in here. I'm telling you that right now. Magazine, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. I personally really dislike Extended Mag 2. The reason being is that when you are firing the gun, you'll notice when you go to, you can even take this into the firing range and test it out for yourselves. When you go in there and you are reloading the gun, you fire, reload, he pats the mag in, or your character pats the mag in, and then has to do a second tap of the mag in order to get it to fully complete the animation, and you can't skip that part of the animation. It's really frustrating, and I've almost died. Actually, I have died at least a few times because I can't get a reload in. It just takes too damn long. So I like Extended Mag 1. It's just a simple take the mag out, put it in, and I still have 45 rounds in the mag, whereas opposed to I'm only getting, we had like what's 55 right here. Listen, it's not worth it. That extra slow reload speed, not fun. I don't even like picking up, you know, the big mag PPSH on the ground. Much prefer it just have Extended Mag 1. So overall, this is indeed the move. It is going to save your bacon more often than not having this mag versus 2. Now, finally, since there is no rear grip section here, I don't know why they did it with the PPSH like that, but I guess just to kind of give it a little bit of a individuality in comparison to the other SMGs. But there is a few you can run in here, a couple different ones I'd recommend. Basically, the combat stock is one I think is actually pretty solid. Dive to fire, slide to fire, and sprint to fire. Pretty much like, you know, your like your ergonomic rear grip, but in stock form. So that's pretty solid. The other one you can run is the agility stock for ADS speed and aim blocking movement speed. Overall, you're not really going to find anything better than these two. I personally tested out all of these and tried to see like what is indeed going to be the best. Balance stock here is actually not all that bad, but overall there's no slide to fire, and we really like that. So I mean, you can try out these, see what works best for you, but I think between the two, the combat stock and the agility stock, you aren't going to find anything that's going to be better as of right now. So I'm going to go and throw on the combat stock here just because that's my preference, and this is going to be your full and final build for the top 5 SMGs. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe, check out this other video on screen, and I'll see you all next time.